Coming up, find out why I had to say this.
I just want to say that I live in China and I feel free.
In order to remind the anti-China folks that China is not an open prison. Also, find out why this American is afraid of walking the streets of the U.S.
I cannot even walk with my son on the street.
In China, we safely and freely walk the streets at all hours of the night.
So I want to share a video with you guys I saw of San Francisco, a city in the U.S. It's a city overflowing with homeless people that are high and sick on drugs. It's absolutely crazy. One of the guys who was talking in this video, he said that this is a third world country issue. Guys, I wanted to let you know that I'm going to the Philippines next month, and if I see in the Philippines that it's overloading with homeless drug addicts on the streets like this, I will come back and let you know. But even in my country that is a poor country, Jamaica, it doesn't happen. It doesn't overflow with drug addicts like this. I promise you. What is happening in the US is next level. This is absolutely not even in Jamaica, right? So, but do you know why these things are happening in the US like this? Why more cities in the US are overflowing with drug addicts, homeless people? You know why? Because the US is soft on drug laws. Yes, because they have to protect the individual's right. The individual's right to do whatever they want. It's a very individualistic society. It's always about me, myself, and I. There's no expectation from society. Everyone can do whatever they want to do without feeling shame. You know, they value that, having the right to do whatever they want to do at all times. Yes, because that is the great freedom they talk about, right? So much so that it impedes on the freedom of other people. Let's take a look at this video.
The loss of business just the city's latest obstacle as it grapples with the issues of employers abandoning the city, homelessness, and drugs.
It's like a zombie town, you know, there's so many homeless and drug dealers, you know, and it's ridiculous. I cannot even walk with my son on the street.
Overdoses in the city up 40% versus this time last year. I spoke with a local bike mechanic recently who said crime at his store has fallen off since the pandemic, but from what he's seen, the drug situation has gotten worse in the neighborhood.
What about drug activity on the streets? What do you see about that?
That does seem to be worse. It seems like fentanyl has really gotten to a lot more kids.
And new data from the University of Toronto School of Cities shows San Francisco ranks last among major U.S. cities when it comes to downtown foot traffic. It's at only 29% of pre-pandemic levels.
There you go. It's like I said, they have so much freedom that it impedes the freedom of others. There was this theory I came across. It's called the Hofstede theory, and it did compare the individualistic society to a collective society. And it said that an individualistic society, people tend to care about themselves and their immediate circle of family and friends, perhaps at the expense of the overall society, right? That is exactly what you see happening in the US. That guy said that he can't even walk the streets with his son because of fear of these drug addicts, these homeless people. Well, I can tell you, I can walk the streets of China pretty late at night and be safe. Also, parents, they have their children running all over the streets here in China. This definitely does not happen in China. And the West mocks China all the time and talks about how there isn't freedom in China. Well, guys, look at this society. I mean, what freedom is it? How it's imposing on other people's right to operate businesses that provides for their families. A lot of business owners are leaving San Francisco because of the overflow, the mass of homelessness and drugs. It's so easy to get your hands on drugs in San Francisco and other parts of the US.
You're going to see a lot of overdoses out here. I carry Narcan, which is an opioid blocker. Because of Measure 110, this decriminalized all drug use. It's now just an open-air drug scene. Well, smash and grabs are very common in Portland. We have a lawlessness city now. We have cops that can't even pursue. They're not even really allowed to because it's not serious enough. And we're
Sometimes I wonder if there is such a thing as too much freedom. You know, guys, let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think there is a thing as too much freedom? I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's something I am thinking about. But yeah, they have so much freedom that other people are in fear of walking the streets with their kids. People are closing businesses because the freedom of others are imposing on their rights to operate and to live and to earn money. I tell you, that is definitely not happening in China. And then you look at China, a more collective society where you can be shamed for not living up to the expectation of society, where people care about having harmony in the society, where the words of mothers and fathers mean something, where you can't get drugs so easily, where when you travel the streets, you do not see people on the streets taking drugs, or it's overflowing with drug addicts, homelessness. You just don't see that. You just don't see that. And in China, the drug laws are pretty harsh, right? China is tough on drugs because they do not care about your right to take drugs. They don't care about that. China is tough on drugs. Why is China more of a collective nature? Well, China for a long time has been influenced by Confucian values. Confucian values have been influential in shaping Chinese society for centuries. Confucianism emphasizes the importance of family, social harmony, and respect for authority. It promotes the idea that individuals should prioritize the well-being of community and family. Here in China, you can be shamed for not operating in an expected manner. You can be shamed by your family. You can be shamed by your friends. I see in the US they're calling for kids to have more rights because they have to respect the rights of little kids more than allowing parents the right to discipline their kids or to choose a path or to lead their kids on a righteous path. Kids now are able to choose whatever gender they feel like because we're all respecting the individual's rights, right? And now parents have no say in that. In some states, parents will face legal troubles for telling a child not to go through with certain surgeries that will alter their whole future and their whole bodies. Right? Parents have no right to do that in some states in the US. But here in China, the words of your mom and your dad, it means something. It has a lot of weight here. Kids, they value their parents. There is some shame if you deviate from family expectations, you know. So that is absent in the US. It's because everyone is all about me, and my. I really hope that China continues to have more of this collective approach and continue to allow their society, their culture to be influenced by Confucian values, because I think these are really good values. And I do want to share another video with you that I saw on the internet.
Right now I'm in China, and this thing behind me will publicly shame you if you decide to jaywalk. Now on the pedestrian crossing there's a couple of cameras and a screen that shows you what the cameras can see. Once it has picked up that you were crossing illegally, it takes a picture and puts your face on the big screen like so. Using facial recognition, the authorities will know exactly who you are and will be able to give you a fine for jaywalking. Do they have anything like this where you live?
And this is what the Westerners have to say about it. Listen to this comment, guys. This one stood out to me. It said, because of those things, China is like a prison for people living in that country. Everything is tracked and no more privacy. And life is stressed as we have to stay focused with all the many pages of regulations. Humans are not designed in that way. Wow. Wow. There are many comments under this video mocking China, but I just want to say that I live in China and I feel free. Just want to say that for those wondering, I feel absolutely free living in China. I am free. I do not know what prison he's talking about, but I am having the time of my life in China because those social issues that they are facing in the US, mass homelessness and drugs on the streets and gun violence and the fear of walking on the streets in the middle of the day because of all that is happening, I do not face that in China.